In the town of Greeley, Colorado, a mystery had cast a shadow over the town, leaving a trumpet player gone missing. Amidst this community, a chilling murder had occurred, and the heart of it laid a love triangle that bare emotions, affection, and retribution. Or was it? In this case, the answer may just stay with someone that is no longer in the living. Hi, and welcome to Lost and Found the Missing. I'm your host, Sarah Janik, Psychic Medium. I connect those on the other side and have a pull to help connect those that have gone missing with some sort of closure. In today's case, Scott Sessions was 53 years old at the time of his disappearance. He was born on March 25th of 1966 in Ogden, Utah. Scott was a beloved trumpet player that played throughout the state of Colorado in the band, the Movers and Shakers, as well as many other bands.
You said you was
He was scheduled to appear at a performance at the Candlelight Dinner Playhouse at a sold-out concert on February 10th of 2020. When Scott didn't show, they went ahead with the concert because the show was sold out, but they alerted his family as this was extremely unlike Scott. Music was his life. The next day, Scott's dad and brother go over to his house to see what's going on after hearing of him no showing at the concert that he was supposed to attend. That, as well as him not answering his cell phone, worried the family, but they find no one home. It was blizzarding, the sidewalks hadn't been shoveled, there was no feet prints, it didn't look like he had been home for a few days. Scott had met a woman named Heather Frank on January 22nd of 2020, one night after his Blues Jam concert in Greeley. Heather was 48 years old and a server at Doug's Diner in Loveland, Colorado. She was known to have had a little bit of a partier lifestyle and that she liked to drink, but the pair seemed to hit it off and she was happy. Scott Sessions was last heard from on February 8th of 2020. Someone mentioned that he had been casually seeing a woman that they knew nothing about. Police start their search for Scott. They begin by searching his home computer, which was easy to access because he actually had his passwords laid out alongside of his computer. In this search, they find that he was in fact dating a woman named Heather Frank. He had been messaging her back and forth on Facebook. He had messages on his Facebook page, and data from his cell phone actually showed that he was at Heather's apartment that day. They knew that she was, in fact, the last person to have talked to Scott, as they found his cell phone and see a text conversation from her. In this conversation, she says, "You want to come over?" Scott replies, "Sure, just need to hop in the shower." She replies, "F yeah," and then again with, "Hurry." Little does Scott know he may not really be texting Heather at all. This really is where the search for Scott begins. Fast forward 2 days to February 10th. One morning, a snowplow driver is making his rounds clearing roads in the Rocky Mountains. He's on his route in Pingree Park Road in the Poudre Canyon, just about 40 miles outside of Fort Collins, Colorado. He notices a fire and smoke and stops to check it out, knowing that this is extremely out of place. It's cold, it's snowy, there's lots of snow on the ground. Why would there be a fire? He gets out of the plow and walks over to the fire just to discover that there was a large log on fire with a body wrapped in construction-grade plastic sheeting and a blanket laying next to the log. The man looked to be that of a man that had been decapitated.
I'm on the Pingree Park Road at the Monument Gulch exit, and I have a dead body.
Okay, we'll get help on the way. Are you able to provide any details?
Well, there was a tree on fire, and I went up to put it out, and he's laying next to it.
Okay, and do you believe he's got any help?
Yeah, he's definitely passed away.
The body was later found to be that of Scott Sessions. The police are able to see footprints in the snow. Actually, Cass sees as evidence. Also, the coroner determines that someone has attacked Scott from behind as he had defense wounds from the back, and the report says someone had cut Scott's throat so deep it did in fact almost decapitate him. The next day, on the 11th, police find Scott's car placed in a shopping center just across the street from Heather Frank's home. The days after Scott's disappearance, Heather went to work, she got her nails done, went out to dinner, went shopping, went about her life like nothing was wrong. Coworkers say she seemed off a bit and wasn't her usual self, but still she was at work. But her meeting with her son for dinner, she seemed completely normal. So the police place a tracking device on Heather's car and another car that happens to be at her home, registered to a man named Kevin Eastman, an oil-filled worker who happens to be Heather's on-again, off-again ex-boyfriend. They also place a camera outside of her apartment for surveillance. Police are searching video footage of traffic to and from Pingree Park Road, and after figuring out who the other car belongs to at Heather Frank's place, they find that Kevin's car is actually spotted driving to and from Pingree Park Road the same day Scott's body was found. Kevin and Heather are spotted on this surveillance camera on February 15th, leaving her house, getting into Kevin's car together.
A killer roams free. Cops are on the hunt for Scott Sessions' murderer, and they focus their attention on a waitress and a former oil rig worker. And that focus is thanks in large part to a camera pointed right in their direction.
It's the day after Valentine's Day, about 5:30 p.m., and Heather Frank and Kevin Eastman come out of her apartment. They load into his silver Subaru.
Heather is carrying a jacket in her hands. She looks almost unsteady on her feet as she's walking out. They're not having a conversation, and she gets into the passenger side of the vehicle.
One of them is never coming back, and this is a key moment in the case because it's being captured by a surveillance camera set up on a light pole across the street.
His car is tracked to the property of Kevin's friend's home, located just east of Greeley, near Kersey, Colorado, on remote land. It was found that Kevin had done odd jobs for money for this man from time to time when he was out of work. The next morning, on February 16th, the police go out to this property to monitor and see what Kevin and Heather are doing. They spot Kevin standing by and attending to a large burn pit and fire. Coincidence? I think not. At this time, the police attain arrest warrants. Later that day, they actually catch him at the Kersey gas station filling his gas cans, and they arrest him at this time. However, they don't find or locate Heather anywhere. At the time of Kevin's arrest, they find a large knife in his pocket along with bullets and used shell casings. He tells the police that he last saw her at her apartment the day before, although they know better, having seen them on video footage leaving her house together. So they decide to question Kevin and find...
I'm sure that you've probably heard or seen stuff in the news about somebody disappearing from Greeley. Do you know anything about that?
Is it musician? Yeah, Heather showed me that on her phone.
Did she tell you that she knew that person?
She said that she had seen him play.
Heather Frank and Scott Sessions met from when Scott was playing in the band, the Movers and the Shakers. The two of them started a whirlwind relationship with each other.
They kind of meet and engage in messaging through Facebook. It is actually a message from Heather Frank inviting Scott Sessions over to her place on February 8th, which is the last time anybody really communicates with Scott Sessions while he's alive.
Find out a whole bunch of stuff. Police decide to go out and search the property that he was spotted on earlier. After thoroughly searching, they find Heather's body there. She had been shot in the chest and wrapped up in a blanket and placed under a dry wood burn pile, just like Scott. Was this why Kevin was at the gas station trying to buy more gasoline? Probably. Police go and search Heather's apartment and find right at the entryway of the door there was a large pool of dried blood on the carpet and under the carpeting. What happened at Heather's house from the day Scott went missing until her and Kevin were spotted leaving on the 15th? Heather's family and friends say that Kevin was physically abusive to Heather, and that was why their relationship had gone on so long. He would not take no for an answer. Kevin actually had an arrest warrant out in Denver at the time for this exact reason. It's speculated that Kevin may have taken her phone and found out that she had actually been dating Scott. They believed Kevin texted Scott asking him to come over with plans to kill him. Kevin then kills Scott, attacking him from behind the door once he enters Heather's house, and Kevin then disposes of Scott's body on his own, and he keeps Heather quiet, threatening her over the next week. That, or they were both in on it, luring Scott into her house, and they both killed and disposed of Scott's body, and Kevin killed her out of fear that she would speak out of anger. Kevin says he proposed to Heather, and she said no. They also think in rage of her saying no, this may be why he actually killed her. Either way, they live together for a week in her home before they leave to go to the property east of Greeley together. She went to work and was around family without Kevin, so she easily could have gotten help or went to the police station if it was only Kevin and she was in fact innocent or fearing for her life. Kevin went to trial in 2020, and he was convicted of murdering both Scott Sessions and Heather Frank. In this case, there is one thing that I want to talk about that seems to me like there could have been things prevented here. The police have been tracking Heather and Kevin. You always have these thoughts of what if they had acted sooner? Maybe her life could have been spared, or we could have actually figured out what exactly happened here. It seems funny that they had to track for so long before there was some action taken around this, especially because they had Scott's body. I guess that's always what people who lose a loved one think, right? All of the woulda, shoulda, coulda circumstances. Scott Sessions went missing from Greeley, Colorado, and was found 75 miles away on Pingree Park Road up the Poudre Canyon. The Scott Sessions and Heather Frank's case serves as a reminder of the importance of remaining vigilant against those who may cause harm. It also highlights the dedication and determination of law enforcement and community members who work around the clock to help find and serve justice. Thank you for joining me as we delve into this murder case. If you found this video informative, please hit the like button and subscribe to Lost and Found the Missing. Subscribe to Lost and Found the Missing for more missing persons content. Remember to stay safe and look out for one another. Until next time, Sarah Janik Medium, signing off.